Rick, would you like to tell us a little bit about high-speed rail?
Frank about summed it up. There was a meeting on the 11th at Sulphur Springs School. There was over 200 people that attended the meeting. It was very well attended. High-speed rail was there, and one of the members of the Santa Clarita Valley High-Speed Rail Task Force is a sound man, and he obtained a recording of a high-speed rail in France. It was sent to him, and they calibrated the decibels from the train track to the back of the school in Sulphur Springs. And on the back porch of the school, he calibrated it to a 90 decibel sound. Now, when I got there, I was standing out front of the school talking to somebody, and they started playing this sound, and I'd forgotten he was going to have the sound there. And I didn't know what it was, but I'm going, oh my God, what the hell was that? And then when we went out back, that's what it was. They had set up a sound system, and they had it calibrated to 90 decibels at the back of the school. Well, that's where Frank talked about them closing the doors, because it was 90 decibels on the back. The high-speed rail people were there questioning him and looking at his equipment, and they said, high-speed rail is not that loud. Well, I'll tell you what, the Metrolink kept going by, and the engines on the Metrolink were about 80 decibels, and there was 3 or 4 of them going by. But the high-speed rail trains are supposed to be like 1,000 feet long, and it's almost a sound barrier type situation after they go through. And this thing was humongously loud. And if it just starts vibrating around the canyons and stuff here in Canyon Country in Santa Clarita, we're in for a world of hurt with that stuff. The gentleman that ran the meeting was from Sacramento. He was the second in command of the high-speed rail, and I don't have his name, but he was there. He had to leave to go back to Sacramento. But he said that the new CEO was, and also the chairman of the board of directors, they were willing to listen to the city, and also people entertaining the idea of possibly trying to run the tunnel farther instead of coming out in Vista Canyon, run it another 1.5 miles to 2 miles past. So they were waiting for the letters from the city and from the task force. The task force had our name, Canyon Country Advisory Committee, on the letter that we've submitted, basically opposing it, but also asking, if not being opposed, that they consider different mitigations for the thing. But it was a very well attended meeting, and the people from the high-speed rail definitely took notice of how many people were there. And I know the city council, actually the majority of the city council, was ready to oppose it, but then they backtracked a little bit, and they are sending a letter, not total opposition, but to definitely help the citizens of Santa Clarita and Canyon Country, especially everybody that lives just north of the 14, let alone San Canyon itself. Anybody that's north of the 14 from Sierra Highway on east, you will be impacted if that high-speed rail ever comes through. Al, you've got some figures, I think, don't you?
If anybody was at that meeting, if anybody was at the high-speed rail meeting, you know that I made fun of their numbers, right? I love numbers. And so we were talking about, we were using the numbers they were throwing out. So this time, because we had more time and the numbers were on the internet, I just grabbed them from their business plan, their new revised business plan that's going to show how well this whole thing is going to go. And they talked about creating, that's exactly word for word from what it's on there, 900,000 job years. Well, which may be more than 1 million, but I'll just take the 900,000. And if we take a burden rate of $75,000 a year, remember, a burden rate is not the amount you get paid. A burden rate is the amount you get paid plus the amount that you get in benefits. It would be $67 billion in labor. Now, they're claiming they're going to do this job for $68 billion. So I guess train tracks are really cheap. When you talk about this in their business scenario, the Beta Basin plan is phase 1. So there's more of this coming. And we may get to see this down here by 2028. But I like this the best. In their business plan, it said that tickets would run about $81 and that they would have a ridership. Look, I took the high ridership at 10.5 million riders per year. So $10.5 million riders times $81 is $850 million. It's not quite the amount they said. They said that they were going to be making $1,096 per year. So if I take that $850 million and I subtract what they're claiming is going to be their operating cost of $556 million, they can make a profit of $294 million per year at a cost of $68 billion. Divided by 294 million, and it pays back in only 230 years. This is really a great project, right? Cut that number in half, and it would only pay back in 115 years. So it's no wonder that our elected officials are not business people. I don't think payback in 230 years, by the way, does not include interest, inflation, or any of the other stuff. But they want to charge right ahead, because Europe has high-speed rail, and we can see how well the euro is doing.